Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Hendrick Hudson Board meeting. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. One nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. So we're going to start tonight with a very special recognition of we're at Furnace Woods today, the Furnace Woods School, and we're going to start with a special recognition. I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Trombley.
Thank you, President Mills. We're very happy to be here at Furnace Woods on this rainy evening, and we have seen that the smiles of our students brighten even the rainiest day. So we're thankful for the invite to attend to hold our board meeting here from Principal Cohen. I'll have Principal Cohen come to the microphone to introduce what our student recognition will be for this evening.
All right, hello everybody, welcome to Furnace Woods and thanks for coming out. We have families, staff, community members, students. So Mr. Bruno, he's somebody very special here at Furnace Woods. You hear him on the morning announcements on most days. He's one of our lunch supervisors, PE teacher, great relationship with the kids, has great activities in a great way that's accessible for everybody. So I just really wanted to set him up and he's going to take you through what happens next. Let's hear it from Mr. Bruno.
Thanks, Mr. Cohen. That was quite the introduction. So just in case anybody's wondering, it's not Twin Day, all right? It's Wednesday here at Hendrick Hudson, which means we always wear our Ryan Snyder apparel. So shout out to Ryan, who's one of our kids in the district. So good evening to all the members of the board and our Hendrick Hudson community. I'm very excited to be here tonight. And we thank you for the invitation to speak on behalf of our entire elementary physical education department here at Hendrick Hudson. We're going to show you an activity that we do in all three elementary schools in some capacity. So along with Mr. Glassoff and Mr. Kisslinger, we have established a curriculum that we are extremely proud of, and we enjoy evolving it each year. We put a large emphasis on our team sports. All three elementary schools are exposed to many different games and activities, which gives students the opportunity to learn the basics of many sports, and we hope to make them lifelong learners. Following our strong acronyms, students are able to learn basic rules and techniques necessary to participate in these sports. So this past month, February, was Healthy Heart Month, and both Buchanan Plank and Furnace Woods participated in the American Heart Association's Kids Heart Challenge. You might remember this as the Hoops for Heart. So that's what we tie in our basketball unit. So every February, we try to expose and play a bunch of activities and games that involve the sport of basketball. We also share facts about how to live a healthy lifestyle. And we like to, have the students learn how to be healthier along with some basic techniques and rules used in the game of basketball. So one of our culminating activities that we like to do is one that we're going to do in a moment. And we have a few of our friends here from Furnace Woods. We call this one Basketball Scrabble. It's a relay type game. So tonight we'll have teams of two, and each student have been given a word. These vocabulary words are basketball related. So for the blue team tonight, they have the word hoop. For purple team, they have the word jump. And for the green team, they have the word shot. And what they'll do is, when the race starts, they'll dribble their ball down. Now tonight they have these colorful, wonderful dodge balls, but during class, we like to use our basketballs, but for the sake of not hitting anybody in the head with a hard basketball, we have this intermediate type size. Thank you, Mr. Cohen. And we also have this smaller basketball. So kids usually have the choice. Younger students prefer to have the smaller ball. A little bit easier for them to manipulate, dribble, shoot, all that good stuff. And in addition to that, our competitors tonight, our students, they have 4-letter words. For the older kids, we always try to give them the choice of, challenging themselves. So we have 5-letter words, we have 6-letter words, so on and so forth. Our prizes that we normally hand out are our bean bags. Tonight, we'll just try to spell one word, and whoever can spell their word first will win. So located down here, we have our letters on the floor, and on my signal, we'll dribble down. They'll find the letter in their word. Now, if they're able to make their jump shot on one of our hoops, then they're able to take the letter back with them. If they miss, it's all good, but we're only gonna go one time. So we'll go back to our cone and allow our partner to start. Doesn't matter the order that we get it, as long as we get the letters that we need. Now we have these two beautiful hoops over here, but another modification that we have in our gym right behind us, we have different hoops on the wall so we can vary the height of each one. We can put some at 7 feet, 8 feet, 9 feet, and of course 10 feet. So just for the sake of our space, we brought these, I think they're about 6 feet high. Sir.
There's no one at the yellow over there.
I noticed that too, Mr. Cohen. I did. So in a moment, if there are some brave souls on the stage and you'd like to come on down, we do have one cone that is vacant. And we only need 2 people. You can rock, paper, scissors if you need to. Do we have any contestants? Yes.
Yes.
Come on down. Yes, come on down. Come on down. Come on down. Come on down. So as our board members are coming on down, we'd like to shout out on the green team. We have Nicholas and Charlie. On the purple team, we have Elena and Miguel. And on the blue team, we have Danielle and Max.
You guys are cheating. We have more than 4 letters in ours. There's a bunch of cheaters over here.
Guilty as charged. We have given I think it's 7. Is that 7 letters? Maybe. Yeah, 7 letters. It's not a math lesson, but there is 7 letters there, yes. And it is the word dribble. So it'll be interesting to see if we can have our 1st and 2nd graders with a 4-letter word be able to defeat our adults with the 7-letter word. All right, kids, are we ready? All right, if we're all ready, contestants may stand. And as always, the first person in line can grab onto that ball. You should look at the letters on your word, just in case. You can leave that behind, Miss Danielle. Good. And with all of our games here, we start off with the word play. Dribble on down, dribble on down, dribble on down. Find the letter that you need. Nice. Once you make it, take that letter back with you. Play! Here you go.
No, because we hit it out.
If you need to take the letter, maybe take the letter. We have the purple team out to an early lead with J for jump. Yes, Miss Mills got the D. And dribble back, dribble back, dribble back. All right, we'll take that. Take your letter. Good. Nice shot. Seems like all of our teams have 1 letter. Miss Silverman and Miss Mills have 2. Oh, good try, Miguel. Remember to bend those knees. Oh, good try. Yes! That went in. Grab that letter. Oh. Good job. When you have your letter, your word completed, make sure it's written out in front of you. Very good. Yes, good job, good job. Nice. We have 1 winner. We're going to look for our 2nd winner. Keep on going, keep on going. Beautiful. Yes, yes, yes. Come on, you gotta be mom. Gotta be mom. Good job, green team. Sit down, green team. Nice. Keep on going down.
go from downtown. Oh, I missed. Darn.
And we have our winners. Very good. Very good. So, in our elementary schools, we always celebrate with a silent cheer. So, in third place, give yourself a silent cheer for the blue team. And the green team got second. And our grand prize winners, the purple team. So, as you can see, we throw all of our basketball techniques and skills into our last game there, dribbling, shooting a basketball, and then of course we throw in some literacy to make it a little bit extra fun, and that's how we play Scrabble basketball. Nice job, everybody. Thank you, everybody.
All right, you can stay here for a moment. Back to Mr. Trombley.
Thank you, Mr. Cohen. Mr. Bruno, thank you and your friends for joining us tonight and showing us a peek inside of our classrooms to see how we can combine physical movement along with literacy. Thank you to our board volunteers who come down and play with our friends. Friends, we know you could have been doing something else tonight, so we want to recognize that you stayed with us and showed us just how good of spellers you are, but also how you get your bodies up and moving. So we have some recognition for you. And we also want to thank Mr. Bruno for coming here this evening tonight. So Mr. Cohen's going to call you up by name, and I'm going to hand you a certificate.
All right, first up, Miguel. Let's give Miguel a nice round of applause. Nice picture. All right, a big round of applause for Danielle. Next up, Lena. Nicholas. Charlie. And last but not least, Max. Another round of applause for all our students and Mr. Bruno.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cohen, Mr. Bruno. I know I want to just thank you for allowing us to start off our board meeting with focusing on what it really is all about, our students, our future sailors, and taking a glimpse inside of our classroom to see all the wonderful things you're doing to support our students. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Now to our friends and their parents, you are more than welcome to stay for a wonderful board meeting where we have budget presentations and policy work. But if you'd like to go home and practice your basketball a little bit more, or study, or sleep, you can do that. So thank you for joining So that concludes our student recognition portion of the evening. I'll turn it back over to President Mills.
And now we move on to the approval of our agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda? Motion to approve the agenda. Second.
Second.
All in favor? Do you have any, non-agenda items? No? Thank you. Does anyone have anything to pull from the consent agenda this evening? Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Do I have a second? All in favor? All right, and then the next is, a review of our, a donation that we have been provided with tonight to approve. This is to approve a donation from the Hendrick Hudson fifth grade committee for $6,000 for the fifth grade trip to Ashokan. Thank you very much for this donation, fifth grade committee. That's a great contribution to support a very beloved trip for our students. So thank you for that. I know a lot goes into, I know firsthand that a lot goes into that. So thank you. Do I have a motion to, if you want to say something?
Sure, just want to thank the fifth grade committee for all of their efforts to support our children going on this Hendrick Hudson tradition and the instructional components that are associated with it. Having gone on it for the first time last year, I can certainly see how it combines all the best aspects of nature, of science instruction, and of also gaining independence as it's a sleepaway. So thank you to the fifth grade committee for their support of this. I'm just a little disappointed that my team lost the kickball tournament, but we'll talk about that later.
So do I have a motion to approve this donation? Motion to approve the donation. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Thank you very much. Okay, the next is audience comments on agenda items. Okay. And now we will do the presentation and discussion of the Hendrick Hudson Free Library, Technology and Special Education. And we'll start with welcoming the Hendrick Hudson Free Library to talk, present.
So as our partners from the Free Library are coming to the podium, I just want to thank them because it is truly wonderful to have such a partnership that exists between the school district and the Free Library. Just today, we were conducting interviews for an open position within the district. It's such a wonderful venue to be hosted in, with the artwork, the busyness of seeing children and families come in and out of there. And the space itself really is dignified and beautiful and leads to an overall wonderful event as we're welcoming possible new candidates to our district, but also for our staff to be there as well. The number of supports you provide the district from registration assistance, connecting us to family groups, adult groups that may benefit from us having another opportunity to interact with them. I cannot say enough about the relationship that we have. So thank you for being here tonight to present your budget, and thank you for your continued partnership.
Well, thank you very much, and we truly honor the relationship that we have. Sorry about the Scrabble basketball. We're not be able to dazzle you like the way the kids were, but we'll do our best with our budgets. So good evening, President Mills, members of the Hendrick Hudson School Board District and Administration, and fellow community members. My name is Kevin Quigley, and I'm the president of the Board of Trustees Free Library. I'm here tonight along with our library director, Jill Davis, as well as our fellow trustees, Marie Manor and Tammy Trudell, to present the proposed library budget for the fiscal year 2025 through 2026, and to request that this proposal be included on the ballot when presented to the public on May 20th of 2025. But before we get to our proposal, I'd like to talk a little bit about how our patrons use the library and the services that it recently offered. I'm the son of two librarians. They actually met in a library. And while most patrons don't share lineage similar to mine, every one of the over 86,000 people who came through the doors last year have a personal connection and benefited from our library. Maybe you're the proud owner of one of the more than 600 passports we processed, helping you whisk away to a long dream trip. Show of hands, how many people got their passports over at the Henwood Library? We'll never go back to the USPS, right? That's great. That's right. And if you're thinking of getting one, get it now before you go to the summer, because time's a waste, all right? Additionally, you might be one of the 7,000 patrons who use our study rooms preparing for an exam. And coming soon, we have private soundproof booths that are coming to the library, so you can work even in a quieter spot. Well, it should be here in the next few weeks. Maybe yours is one of the 245 families that used one of our free museum passes, or simply one of the 18,000 people who attended one of the 1,200 programs that we offered last year. That's an average of more than 3 programs a day, curated with our community's patrons in mind for all ages and stages. One recent favorite was a rent-a-chick, and patrons were able to witness the development of chicks while they were growing in eggs, eventually hatching. Maybe this year we'll just give away the eggs, so you can cook them. How else does the library benefit you and the community? In 2024, we circulated over 143,000 items, addressing how people also use their media. Over 38% were electronic books and streaming services. Our commitment to sustainability remains strong with our recycling programs. Community members bring their plastic batteries, K-cups, and unwanted books to us, so we can be sure they are disposed of or reused in an environmentally sustainable way. And who hasn't used the mobile shredder truck when it comes? And if you have an electric vehicle, you can also use our charging station while attending a program. Our benefits aren't limited to inside the building. Next time you visit, please walk a lap around our library. We've added an outdoor elements like our story walk, or bang on one of our 3 musical instruments on the front lawn before joining us for one of our many outdoor concerts. We continued our partnership with the school district by offering after-school homework to help for K-5 students. They met over 60 times throughout this past school year, working with volunteers and staff to complete daily assignments and have a little bit of fun with some educational games. And not limited to helping just kids, we also offer adult E&L programs. The library even provides the instructors. These are just a couple of examples of the continued collaboration between the library and the school district. In the past few minutes, we just scratched the surface of what the Hud Free Library brings to the community's table. And the Cortland taxpayers get all of these benefits for an average of $5 a week. And that includes the proposed increase. That's cheaper than a Dunkin' or a Starbucks. So on to our numbers. The library's proposed 2025-26 budget reflects a 3.9% levy increase, which is really a 0.87% budget to budget increase, less than 1%. That represents approximately $54,000 increase over last year. And most of that increase is due to the rising retirement costs and additional programming money. The average taxpayer in the town of Cortland will see an annual increase of $1.18 per thousand of assessed value, and Peekskill taxpayers will see an annual increase of 12 cents per thousand assessed value. So for the average taxpayer living in the town of Cortland, this means library services will cost approximately $261 a year, and in Peekskill that number would be $140. The board's goal is to meet the community's evolving needs with services and programs for all. And we feel that this budget reflects our continued commitment to that goal. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here and to present the library's proposed budget to be included on the May 20th ballot. Have a great night, and we hope to see you at the library.
So for our next presentation, and just as a point of clarification, as we develop the ballot for our community's vote on May 20th, you will see the library's proposed budget as a separate proposition from the school district's budget too. So that will be included there. Thank you for your presentation this evening.
Thank you.
I'd like to now call Ms. Vinitha Joy, Executive Director of Technology and Innovation, to present her proposed program budget. So we enter into the final, as Vinitha is coming to the podium, we enter into the final budget presentations on the department level or building level for the year. And it's fitting that the last 2 make up primarily outside of salaries, the largest components of the district. These are 2 of the most complicated budgets that Vinitha and our Acting Director of Pupil Personnel Services, Chris Moreno, will present, because they are often highly dependent upon a number of moving variables as they look to build the budget. So I'm very pleased to welcome Ms. Vinitha Joy, our Executive Director of Technology and Innovation, to present her budget for the 2025-2026 school year.
Thank you, Mr. Conklin. Thank you, board. So as we begin to talk about technology, I just wanted to mention our mission statement. Everything that we do in technology directly ties to our mission statement to ensure each student is an engaged, passionate learner who achieves their maximum potential and contributes to the society. The next slide is a little bit about, I did put this up in the last budget meeting as well. sometimes when you think about technology, you think about the network closet, the wires, the computers, the Chromebook. You're not really thinking about all the other things that we do as a technology team. My team is not only in charge of infrastructure, but we also have data in our team. We have the telecommunications, the VoIP system under us, even the security things that we work with Amanda and her team, making sure those notifications go out when those lockdowns come in, 911 alerts are coming in. So there's a lot more than just Chromebooks and laptops that we do on a daily basis. I want to get into some of the things that we did this school year under Pillar 2 real world experiences. We did have 2 new platforms we introduced to teachers this year. SkillStruck is our K-5 STEAM curriculum. Our 3 STEAM teachers are well versed, and they've been working on a K-5 STEAM curriculum, which incorporates the SkillStruck, but also additional things that we do with teachers and students. School AI is, we had a subcommittee last year, we met, we had several sessions, we looked at several products. School AI is something that we did implement in the district this year. You see Nikki Stabell, who's actually at the school delivering a school AI session. She's also a new add-on to the technology team this year. On the right side, you see Mrs. Cohen, Danielle Cohen's class, actually participating with Nikki in a monster challenge program that we did with another school district. So the next few things you're familiar with, we do have a student help desk at the high school. Our student help desk program actually is also, we have a student who comes in, they do fix computers. They work out of the captain's quarters. When it's closed, they work out of the tech office at the high school. We also recruit kids through this program into our summer internship program. We did have 4 interns through the summer internship program. So before last year, we actually ran the program through our district. Last summer was the first year we were able to run the program through BOCES. So that means we just hire, they do all the hiring, the fingerprinting, all the legwork for us. Also, we get aid back on spending money on our summer interns through them. STEAM Innovation Day, just a plug in there, March 29th is our 3rd STEAM Innovation Day in the district. Please join us. It'll be another successful Innovation Day. Pillar 3, clear and targeted communication. We did quite a bit of work in this area, mainly our data team. Parents for integration with bus routes, we currently have bus routes are in our TransFinder system, which updates Infinite Canvas on a nightly basis. From Infinite Canvas, it goes to Parent Square. Any changes to student bus routes are communicated to Parent Square. If a bus is delayed, the transportation department is able to send a message out to those students' families to let them know that the bus is running late. At this time, they are trained on doing this, so we're ready to move forward with that. ADA compliant board policies on website. So after our website is now ADA compliant, it never used to be when we had the old website. Our board policies, I had actually communicated that in one of the board reports. You can find them under Board of Education Policy Corner. It is searchable, it is translatable, so it is ADA compliant. We also translated our K-5 report cards this year, Spanish report cards. So for the first time, we do have Spanish report cards online in the portal. If you have not looked at elementary report cards, please do. parents for integration with high school and middle school attendance notifications and high school letters. We used to have, first class mail goes home when student was 5 days of absence, 10 days of absence from a class until they are credit denied, because we do have the credit denial policy. Those letters were first class mail that are going home. So now we work with the attendance office at the high school and middle school. We have not switched to, parent square letters at the middle school, but we did implement this at the high school this year, where, the attendance office sends out those letters through parent square, and if there's any issues with that, we would send out a first class mail. Automations and integrations for probably about 3 years now. This is like one of those areas that you can please the staff easily by integrating things. So for the past 3 years, we didn't really have integrations between any systems when I started the district. So this is kind of like our last few things that we integrated this year. Infinite Canvas staff single sign-on, which means staff don't have to remember their username and password. It's not different than their Google. They can log in with their Google, same as Infinite Canvas, into Infinite Canvas. Also, rostering. So Google Classroom, Go Guardian, these are 2 programs in addition to all the things that we have in ClassLink, probably over 30 to 40 different systems in the district. All of those are rostered, which means when a student is registered in the district today, if it's before 12 o'clock, we do create a account login for them. They are rostered into ClassLink, so they can log into all the platforms that's available to them by the next day. It used to take quite a bit of time, like teachers would actually in the technology leadership meeting, they had said that was one of the best benefit that they are seeing, because they don't have to reach out to technology department to get a username, password, or to roster things. We also worked on Envision migration to Lyric. So Envision used to be direct with finance manager, business office, and our team worked together in migrating that to the Lyric. It was launched actually Tuesday morning. 2 days in, we're actually doing pretty good. More integrations, streamlining that we did this year, where Windows 11 environment fully in the district. We moved from Windows 10 to 11. We also have, we used to have First Light as our internet provider and our fiber that comes into the district. We had a 5-year contract with them. Our contract ended back in June. We now have that going through the Lyric. Not only we get aid on that, but also we built a redundant network. High school was the only place that we had everything running through the high school. So if high school went down, the entire district went down. So now we have a redundant network where we have fiber coming into the high school and also the middle school. So if high school went down, middle school is able to get the district back up and running for the whole district, so we don't have any downtime. So that work was completed. Also, the copier 5-year contract. Our 5-year contract with Canon came to an end last June. We currently have a new contract through Canon, but through Lyric, so we get aid on that as well. And we did move to centralized printing and cloud printing. We have some little quirkiness that are happening that we're fixing, but for the most part, our district, starting with 3rd grade up to 12th grade, is on a centralized printing model, which means we don't have printers in every single classroom. Also, we launched our new help desk system, ServiceNow. That's been out for about during the break, so it's been out about over 2 weeks now. In the next slide, I usually like to put like a 5-year hardware replacement plan for the district. As you can see, the last 4 years, and this year is a very light year. You'll see on the other school years that we always replace 5th and 9th grade Chromebooks. So we had a new process that we built when I started working here, which is students will get their devices in 5th grade. They keep that device 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Then at the end of 8th grade, we give them their 9th grade device, which they keep until 12th grade. We also used to buy these devices a year in advance because during COVID, we had a lot of supply issues. So we started buying them so we don't have any delays in getting those Chromebooks out to the students. We don't see those delays anymore. That's why you don't see during summer 2025 next year's our IPA or installment purchase, I don't have Chromebooks in there because the 5th and 9th grade Chromebooks is right now in our shelves, ready to go. So in May, we will be distributing them to the 9th graders at the end of this year, May. So next year's, we will start to have 5th and 9th grade Chromebooks back on our replacement cycle. And I'm sorry, I just want to go back one more. We did move to Frank D. Lindsay School in Furnace Woods. We moved from desktops and laptops to just laptops. All of our teachers had a desktop and a laptop. We did move away from having 2 devices from staff to just having a laptop. That worked out actually really good. Teachers did report out during the technology leadership meeting that initially they were all worried because they were more worried about, oh, their keyboard and mouse and everything is going to disappear. That was not the case. It was just the laptop. So they're actually finding that more user-friendly for them to plug in, do their lessons. If they need to go to a meeting, they can plug out and go to the meeting and come back. So I have good response on that. We will be moving that same model to BV schools as well next year. Also, a summary of help desk. As you can see, as of January 22nd, the number of tickets are closed and created. You see the first response is a little bit higher. We did have quite a few new staff in our department this year. So it did take longer to get into the group of things. We're doing better now. So you see that first response time is a little bit higher to 2 days than last year. Next year, InformaCast is something that we use. It's a program that we use when you're triggering a lockdown. InformaCast is what sends out those notifications. We have an older system for InformaCast in the district. We will be upgrading that to InformaCast Fusion, which means we can have more people actually can actually get notifications, right? Right now, we have a limited number of people who can get notifications during those lockdowns and 911 alerts. So this way that you are able to get more people added on. Also, we can tie in some of our smart panels around the district. If doing a lockdown, those panels can take over and flash a message saying lockdown, lockdown, lockdown if you're in the classroom. Plus other features that I won't get into. We are looking at a new filtering system. We do have GoGuardian for students on the Chromebooks. We currently have Fortinet for our filtering system. We've been pulling away a little bit at a time from Fortinet. I see that as a more corporate type of filtering. It's harder to read reports and get a really user-friendly report when our administrators ask for filtering reports. So we are looking at other filtering systems with BOCES. So we're not yet moving over, but we are considering a change in the filtering system for next year. Also, we have backup at this time in the district. We have 2 backup servers, Barracuda servers. We think we will be able to eliminate one of them. If you remember the first year that I was here, we had a lot of home folders where everything was here. We didn't move to a cloud until the first year I was here. So now that we are fully, all of our folders and everything is on Google Cloud, we kept everything in the home folder for at least 2 years, just in case people were losing stuff. We should be able to relieve about a terabyte of data out of one of our servers, so that would free up one of our Barracuda servers. So once we do that, we're also considering to move to the Lyric for a backup system. We did not do a penetration testing, which is, we call it ethical hacking. We, as vendors, we pay vendors to hack into our system so we can see how good our system is. We didn't do that this year, which is also a requirement by the audit, because we were doing a lot of changes in our network. I didn't see the reason to do a pen testing because things were changing all the time. So we will be doing that next school year. VoIP and UC system upgrade. We've been ignoring our VoIP system for some time now. We have support through EduTech, but we didn't really have a good dedicated person for managing our VoIP system. So our UC, the universal calling system is actually behind few versions and is not in a supported version. So we will be moving again to the Lyric managed VoIP system next school year. So they will be able to proactively tell us, rather than a lot of times when we do things as reactive to something. I don't feel comfortable acting that way, so this would be like a more of the proactive and managing our network. So EduTech to mid transition, so that's happening right now. They are coming in daily, weekly basis, running tests, assessments. We'll have downtime. Right now, we're trying to schedule a downtime, but they are willing to do after hours, like after 9 o'clock. Their engineers are online after even weekends, if you needed to do upgrades and things like that. All right, TV screens. So some of we don't have a lot of displays around the district. So that's one of the things we are considering on our replacement cycle, on our IPA, our installment purchase, is to have more TV screens around the district so that we can put announcements and student work and those celebratory moments on those displays. We are looking at a hall pass system. Middle school actually reached out to us about having a hall pass system, which means teachers can sign up hall passes to the students. Monitors that are in the hallway can manage who is actually in the hallway. We can also say on that particular bathroom, you can only have 3 kids going to that bathroom or in that hallway at a time. You can have, let's say, Johnny and Joy is not allowed to be in the hallway at the same time. So the system, you can put those restrictions in and still be able to have a hall pass system that our teachers need. Automagical translation tool. You probably heard me talk about the Google add-on services that got discontinued on Friday. We don't really have, translation was one of those things that we discontinued, or Google told us to turn it off. But we also have a need for Google Slides never translated. It's just not a good way to translate Google Slides. And our teachers do a lot of lessons on Google Slides. So I did take a look at Automagical translation tool. It came from another school district recommending it. I like the demo. We'll have a pilot with our ENL teachers and the tech coaches. And that's something that we're hoping to roll out next year. Swank streaming. Currently we have Swank only at the high school, a streaming platform. That's actually a issue because you're not supposed to be watching Netflix or Amazon Prime or YouTube videos on holidays and things like that. So when our teachers are watching those movies, we should be using a streaming platform for that. So Swank is something that we have through the BOCES that we will be putting in place for next year for K-12, not just the high school. Events management system, we started the work on that. We hope to finish by June 30th. This is where nonprofit organizations or internal staff can ask for a room. Like, for example, if this needs to be used for a PTA event, they can book this room in advance. And that paperwork and everything goes through a managed online system rather than paper forms. And you're probably tired of hearing me say MFA, multi-factor authentication. We have MFA for all the administrators at this time, but we will be moving towards all the staff having it, which means they might need a, what we call a UV key or some type of key to actually authenticate. So they will be moving to that. Right now, the date that I told the technology leadership is October 1st, 2025. And that summarizes my budget. So the hardware budget is always something, and this is not the installment purchase, it's the hardware budget is usually like we have an emergency. We just had one at the middle school, one of our UPS was getting hot and it was actually leaking into one of our racks. So now we took the UPS out, we had to replace that. That's not something that we budget for, it's just an emergency. We would use the hardware money for those emergencies. So that's why you see the 50,000 still there. Most of the time, we don't use it. We'll put back into the fund balance. The mileage is something new. We always had mileage, but this is now under the technology budget for just technology needs. The contractual budget, you'll see a negative $604,000 plus. That's because of the transition of a lot of our contractual obligations and EduTech actually coming off of that and is going to BOCES. The contractual expenditures on the next line for the lease is actually, we used to have the IPA, I call it, the loan program through the Chase lease. We don't do Chase lease anymore. We do the installment purchase through BOCES, but we still have 2 more years, I believe, left on that Chase lease. So you won't see that line item at least by next year, the year after. Materials and supplies is basically Chromebook parts, cables, batteries, things like that. I didn't make a change in there. We're doing okay in that area. Computer software, if you remember, we had an initiative to move all the software from all the buildings to technology. So we did over budget for that because I didn't really know what the schools really had. We didn't spend that much. So that's why you see a decrease in that area because a lot of the softwares, even though they were with the building, we negotiated through, or we actually started buying through BOCES. So you see that increase in the BOCES budget because we moved a lot of things from contractual software, things like that into the BOCES budget. And the last line item is the computer lease, which is the IPA through BOCES. So that line item would stay. That's a 5-year installment purchase of buying everything that we have on the 5-year replacement cycle.
Vineet, if I may, before you go to the next slide, so just to summarize, if you can see some pretty large figures increasing and decreasing, we're looking to move the 26340009 code. You'll see that being decreased by a large amount, as well as the A9785, 600, and 700 codes. You'll see close to subsequent increases in the BOCES code. And what the slide doesn't show you is the district can benefit from state aid based upon BOCES expenditures. So that's not shown in that slide there, but it's one of the benefits of possibly using BOCES.
Yes. And those aids do come in the next year. So last year's spending, we'll get the aid back this year. So that's my budget. So thank you on behalf of my team. I sincerely thank you for your support. I think I do feel like I'm well supported in this district, so I do appreciate that.
Thank you,
Thank
Anita.
you.
Board, just to let you know, we'll hold all questions until we have our final budget presentation of the evening, and we'll take you through some other frameworks such as parameters, and then we'll definitely give you an opportunity to ask questions, and Vanita and Chris will stay around, but we will call Christopher Moreno, our Acting Director of Pupil Personnel Services, to the podium to present the Pupil Personnel Services proposed budget. Not quite alliteration or a tongue twister, but a lot of P's in that one.
Thank you. Good evening. So as Vanita and everyone's been presenting, we are here, our mission statement at Hendrick Hudson School District is to ensure that each student is engaged, passionate learner who achieves his or her maximum potential and contributes to society. Obviously, the PPS department is very dedicated to that as well. As far as highlights from this past school year, in addition, we were able to install our Flex program at Blue Mountain Middle School, which is a program that's focused on supporting students with school avoidance or school attendance issues and social emotional regulation issues throughout the school day. With that program, we've seen a reduction in behavioral referrals for those students who are in the program, as well as increases in student attendance overall. So we're very happy with the performance of that program so far. In the future, we'd like to look to obviously expand that reach. In addition to that, we continued and expanded our high school anchor program, which is a program that was developed to support our neurodivergent population, our students at the high school, who need additional support in areas such as social communication, executive functioning, case management, and interpersonal conflict. So that's been very successful. We have seen very strong gains from our student population in that program. We have an additional ABC class at the K2 level. And we've also been able to increase our mental health supports for our student population here at Hendrick Hudson. We implemented the BIMAS screener this year, which is a screener that's helped us identify students who, through the screener, maybe have gone unsupported in some of their mental health needs, and we were able to provide internal and external resources for them and their families. In addition, we've had our mental health first aid training, which is a train the trainer training. A group of teachers and administrators became trainers for our students to identify signs in their peers of mental health need and help essentially bring them the resources that they need to support each other. We've also been able to provide increased professional development opportunities for our mental health staff, and we were able to add 2 school psychologists this past year, which has been very helpful. As for next year and some of the things you might see in the upcoming budget, I would like to continue to expand our anchor program to Blue Mountain Middle School to fill that need of support for our student population there. And also add full-time or consistent special education services inside of our Flex support program. Both would be budget neutral additions to programming through their PPS department. And then I also would like to continue our psychiatric consultation through a direct contract and not through our BOCES contract. You will see some incremental increases in our budget lines for out-of-district tuition. Year over year, there's usually a marginal increase, 2 to 3% in BOCES, and also obviously the tuition in other private and public school programs. You're also going to see some increased budgeting for out-of-district placements for students. So students who, because of increased behavioral, psychiatric or psychological needs, may need a more supportive environmental program than we can offer here at Hendrick Hudson. So we're going to budget for those contingencies. You're also going to see some incremental increases for materials and supply costs. Obviously, things are just becoming more expensive, and so every year we want to make sure we budget for that. And then we talked about the increased mental health support, including the direct contract with a psychiatrist. We currently have a relationship with a psychiatrist, but the direct contract would allow us to have preferential scheduling and or access to that individual, which would be beneficial for our population. So our equipment code, we have a slight decrease in that line for next year, looking mostly to replace large scale items that we might need, especially for our OT and PT providers to work with our students. So when things break down or if we need to add another piece of material or equipment, we have that budgeted for. Then we have our mileage code, which is a new code this year. So this is mileage for PPS staff, related service providers who travel to and from placements, travel to and from buildings through the district, observations, things of that nature. Our contractual expenditures include our postal machine. Obviously with PPS, we have certain regulatory things we have to send in the mail. So we have the postal machine. We also have certain trainings, professional memberships, and some software subscriptions that are instructional in nature that we are able to fund through that code. You'll see a slight increase there. Our hospital tutoring, you'll notice we have a decrease just based on the trends of need there, but that's money that is allocated for students who either through psychiatric need, psychological need, or medical need are in the hospital for an extended stay, and they receive their instruction through usually a provider learn well. Or if they're at Four Winds or St. Vincent's, they're able to receive their instruction from an educator there. And obviously, we also have our IDT and ITSP programs, which are step-down programs for students who maybe are not ready to come back to the school setting yet, but they are able to continue and get into an educational environment outside of the hospital setting. And then finally, on this page, we have our related services and our contractual expenditures. So that would be our pro care nursing. So whenever we need to fill in for nurses, if we have absences or we can't fill them internally, or if we have school trips, things like that, where we might need a nurse, we use pro care to help staff that. We also have our related service professional development. We have some cognitive and behavioral services that we utilize through that. And we're also paying for nursing services for students who may have medical needs in addition to special education needs at other placements. We used to have a slight increase in our materials and supplies, and that goes to our instructional supplies and our instructional needs for our teachers, our related service providers, nursing. So whoever, throughout the year, obviously teachers will need different materials to ensure instruction is at the highest level. So we are budgeting for a slight increase there. And then the next three budget lines are our tuition. And you'll see a very small decrease actually in our other public school tuition. Our other public school tuition is typically students who are in therapeutic support programs in public school settings. And we're not seeing a large increase or anything there. So we're going to probably keep that around the same amount for next year, anticipating the same amount of students who would need that type of a program. Our private school tuition, you will see an increase budgeting for for additional students possibly there. We have students at Westchester Exceptional Children, Hawthorne Country Day, Clearview School, Andrus, and some residential placements. And these are usually students who have either significant cognitive and academic needs or may have behavioral, psychological needs that are in excess of what can be provided here at Hendrick-Hudson. And then finally, we have our BOCES line, which is our BOCES programs. So this can include any of the programs in Rockland, Southern Westchester, or Putnam, Northern Westchester BOCES. And again, these are students with multiple disabilities, sometimes medical concerns as well on top of that, or maybe have behavioral concerns in excess of what we can support here at Hendrick-Hudson. And then the final line is our related services from BOCES, and you'll see a slight increase there, and that's due to, again, around a 2 or 3% increase in BOCES costs. But that's going to be our evaluations, any board certified behavior analyst services that we contract with through BOCES, our CBC DBT consultation, which is a district-wide consultation, in addition to our psychiatric consultation and evaluations. And I just want to say thank you very much to Mr. Trombley and the board for the support. I feel like our department's very well supported, and we appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you, Chris. I also want to recognize members of or colleagues of Chris who are with us in the audience tonight. We have Ellen Gargiulio and Jessica Knobloch. Thank you for coming out to support your colleague and be present here tonight with us. If we go to the next slide, Greg, we will now go through some of the slides you may have seen over the past couple of weeks to serve as a reminder to how we're building our budget, next steps, and also seeking input and guidance through parameter adjustment and discussion on the budget. So we are recommending the establishment of the capital reserve. We've discussed this at length in previous meetings, but just a reminder about the purpose of it and what we would like to do if the board suggests continuing to move forward with that. And you'll see the voters will see this as a proposition on the budget. Greg, if we go to the next slide. We did just have a meeting last week. We do not have any updated information about the tax cap calculation, but we do want to provide that for you at this time as a reminder. We will, if we do have any updates to that, we will be providing it in subsequent meetings. Our budget projections also have not changed since last week. And so that's the budget projection for next year. And if we go to the next slide, fund balance projection. No major update dates since last week either, but we did want to have this in here as a reminder. And then finally, if we look at our current budget parameters on the next slide, the district is developing a budget within the tax cap. We are looking to have a responsive and adaptable budget that supports the instructional program and maintaining the opportunity to support all students' needs. We do have at current 3 contingent positions in the budget to address any change in student need or program requirements. We are developing this budget with additional resources to maintain and improve district facilities, buildings, and grounds. And also we are looking to develop a budget that will help us make the transition to a state mandated but not funded transition to an electric bus fleet. So at this time, if we go to the next slide, we open it up to the board discussion. So again, for framework, we're happy to answer any questions you may have, but if you're looking for prompts, do you have any questions on content from the presentations from Vinitha or Chris to assist us in continued development of the budget? Are the correct parameters that we are presenting still acceptable to the board? Do you need additional information? We do have the sense of the board to move forward with the capital reserve proposition. Just as a reminder, our current estimated tax cap is at 4.58%. Our budget to budget increase with everything that you've seen presented over the past few months of a 2.5% budget to budget increase with the use of approximately $3.7 million in fund balance. And at this time, we still are unable to calculate the tax rate, but we anticipate as we come nearer to board adoption, we hope board adoption of a budget we can agree upon in April, that we will have that information for you and for our taxpayers. So any questions, any discussion? All right, just as a reminder of our budget. I'm sorry.
Wanted to say thank you. It was very thorough and the presentations were very clear. So I think that's why we're so good. So thank you.
Thank you for that feedback. And yes, Vinitha and Chris do have 2 of the larger components of our program budget. So it's often the part of the budget that is in flux. So thank you both for your presentations. If we go to the next slide on our budget development calendar, we are already we've come to the final program department level budget presentation, which will lead us to our March 15th day of fun, as I call it, mandatory fun, as we used to say in the military. It's a full day where we will go line by line through each budget code. A draft agenda of that day is linked in this presentation. You may ask, what is the difference between the very thorough presentations we've been delivering to you since December and that line by line? One, it's going to be a more updated projection of what we see as a proposed budget. And as the presentations that you've seen over the past couple of months are telling a story about the numbers, that will be pure numbers that day. And it will be simply the board will have a version of a scaled down version of the budget book that will be available to the public, and will include each line by line historical spending, year-to-date spending, proposed spending, and any change. So if there's any data in there that you need to drill further down, there'll be members of our administrative team available throughout the day, and it will be a day to really dig into the budget, as I know we're all looking forward to doing that. Also, just a reminder, I haven't said this in recent weeks, but it has been on the slide projection. A reminder to families, if you are planning to enroll your student in non-public schools and you would like to have the district provide transportation, your forms for non-public transportation requests must be submitted by April 1st of this year. The forms are available on the website of our transportation department, and there's also a link in this presentation. And just a reminder on the next slide about our budget vote of if you need to be a registered voter, how you can register. The date of the budget vote is May 20th, and if we need to do a revote on the budget, that revote is on June 17th. If we do need to do a revote and go to it, and we do end up in a situation that has us adopt a contingent budget, these are the contingent budget rules on this slide. And then that's our budget presentation for you this evening, board. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Next is the superintendent's update.
Erica,
Yes.
before you move on, you have to vote to put the library proposition on the ballot.
Oh, perfect. So I need a motion.
Motion to put the Hendrick Hudson Free Library prop on the ballot.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, now we're on to the superintendent's update.
Okay. So this week, March 2nd through March 8th is National School Social Work, School Social Worker Recognition Week. This is a time to honor the incredible professionals who support the well-being of our students, families, and our schools. This year's theme from their national organization is Unite to Ignite, celebrating our impact. And that theme highlights the essential role school social workers play in fostering connections, advocating for equity, and ensuring all students can grow academically, socially, and emotionally. In recent weeks, our school social work and mental health teams have provided outstanding support to our school community during some very challenging times. Their ability to offer guidance, connect families with critical resources, and create a sense of stability for our students is invaluable. We always know as educators that if our students are not ready to learn, they will not be able to learn. So often school social workers help our students get to that state. Our social workers are a key part of fulfilling our district mission to cultivate a dynamic, supportive, and innovative learning environment where every child can reach their full potential. So please join me in recognizing and appreciating the dedication of our school social workers. Their tireless efforts make a lasting impact, and we're grateful for all they do to strengthen the Hendrick Hudson Central School District. An update on our track, as I mentioned in the previous update, our track was damaged during maintenance and upgrades to it. Mr. Merlini and Mr. Baker have been in contact with both the vendor who caused the damage and the potential repair vendor, and they do feel that if the weather cooperates, because we do need weather to remain above a certain temperature to engage in the repairs, they do feel that we will be able to host our home track meets when that time comes around. But as it is something that we are dependent on the weather, something that's out of our control, we will keep you updated. I did mention before that in 2026, Hendrick Hudson High School will celebrate its 100th anniversary. As we set a milestone that truly deserves a celebration. Just a reminder, our first meeting of a task force, the Centennial Celebration Task Force, will take place on Tuesday, March 25th, 2025 from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. in the Hendrick Hudson High School, and we'll give you a more specific room as that date approaches. If you'd like to join the task force, please email me at michael.trombley@hendschools.org or call my office at 914-257-5512, extension 5110. We have a fantastic opportunity to connect with two of our state representatives, Senator Harcum and Assemblywoman Dana Levenberg. The PTA Advocacy Committee is hosting that town hall at this particular time because this is when the state is developing their budget as well, and Senator Harcum and Assemblywoman Levenberg have made themselves available to us on a number of occasions and in a number of different ways, but this is an additional exposure to provide them with insights and feedback that could support Hendrick Hudson as they develop the state budget. That town hall will take place on Thursday, March 6th at 7:30 in the high school library. It's tomorrow, yes. I do want to take a moment to acknowledge recent events that have occurred in our district. And to say that the past few days and weeks have been difficult for our school community would be an understatement. It's times like these that we are reminded of the profound strength, compassion, and resilience that define the Hendrick Hudson Central School District and the larger community. While we mourn together, we also stand together, offering support, comfort, and stability who need it most. My direction to our team, as they've been going through this themselves, has been clear. Our priority is to support students and those in crisis and ensure that all students feel a sense of stability and strength within our schools. I want to take a moment to recognize the outstanding work of our building-based response teams and all staff in our buildings who have supported students, whose efforts have been nothing short of extraordinary. Our administrators have led with compassion, ensuring that staff and students have the support they need. Our building mental health and emergency response teams have navigated incredibly complex situations with professionalism, care, and unwavering dedication. And through it all, colleagues and friends have shown remarkable kindness, lifting up each other in ways that truly embody what it means to be a community. I also want to extend my gratitude to the Putnam Northern Westchester BOCES Regional Crisis Team, which is a group of educators from across the region who come to support other school districts outside of their own school district in times of crisis. Their partnership and expertise have been invaluable in supporting our staff and our students and our community during this difficult time. You hear me speak to it a lot about our shared district mission, which is to create dynamic, supportive, and innovative environment for all members of our educational community. In moments of challenge such as we faced over the past few days, it's the supportive piece of our mission that shines the brightest. The care we have shown as members of this educational community for one another over these past few days is a testament to those values that we hold dear. I'm incredibly proud to be part of a school district that demonstrates such profound compassion and unity. And thank you for the role that each of you plays in making Hendrick-Hudson a community where we take care of one another. Together, we will continue to move forward, stronger, more connected, and ever committed to the well-being of our students and staff. There are no questions requiring follow-up at this time. And I will now ask Dr. Stephen Garcia, Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources and Leadership Development, to provide his report to the Board of Education, and he will be the only cabinet report of this evening. Dr. Garcia.
Thank you. So good evening. So just a brief update on our search for the next superintendent for curriculum instruction and assessment. Again, to echo, strongly want to thank the Hendrick-Hudson Free Library for the use of their space the past 2 days. They've been gracious hosts, and it is just a beautiful facility for this town. Just a wonderful place. I want to thank them again. So the past 2 days, we engaged a stakeholder group, representatives from this community, and they participated in interviews of 9 different candidates, which we brought forth based on the superintendent's cabinet review of about 28 applicants. So, and in total, we had about 104 applicants that did apply for this position. So the past few days have really been a fascinating and really an engaging experience for all the members. I just wanted to thank the participants on this committee, in particular, our administrators. We had Anicia McGill and Dr. Cynthia Kramer. Faculty representatives, we had Sabrina Santucci Pereira, Janine Rizzoli, Christina Ogoletsky, Craig Solomon, Megan McConville, Amy Treza, and Jim Rogulski. The parents, we had Janine Eichenholz, Christine Tehan, Debbie Rivera, and Jessica Burbeck. We also had Linda Cohen-Stumer, who joined us, who's with her as well. We also had the privilege of having 3 students with us. So senior Catherine Wright, junior Ibuka Chakwibuka, and also Elise Smith, and the last 2 are 2 juniors. They represent the faculty and staff, community, and administration so well. I was very proud of their efforts. Based on their feedback, it was 2 days of intense interviews, about 17 questions for each candidate. They provided Ms. Trombley with a lot to think about in terms of what they believe the expectations are from this community and the needs of this community. So just want to say that we're on track for the next step and the next stage. Based on the feedback, Ms. Trombley will be inviting, we don't have an exact number yet, maybe 4 or 5 candidates to meet with the cabinet again for a more intense, detail-oriented interview. The feedback that was provided by the community stakeholder group really will form many of our questions for follow-up for these, I'm going to call them semi-finalists. That will, on the calendar right now, that will take place on March 18th, we're hoping. From there, just to let the board know and the community know, we are on our timeline. The next stage would be after meeting with the superintendent's cabinet again, would be then to, Ms. Trumbull will select candidates to finalists to meet with the Board of Education. We hope to have that actually on April 22nd, the board meeting, in executive session. If all goes well, we can possibly appoint the next assistant superintendent for curriculum instruction and assessment on May 7th. We would love for the individual to be able to join us and shadow the school and meet members of the community and faculty, staff, administrators before the end of this school year for a July 1 start date. So we're on track for that. And again, we want to thank all the stakeholders who were joining us for that event. As you know, we have two other openings. We have assistant superintendent for business, that posting closes this Friday, actually. And then we have our athletic director position, which closes the following Friday. So then we will be beginning, once we kind of got this time, similar to what we did with the curriculum instruction assessment interviews. We want stakeholder community feedback. We'll be having some virtual focus groups from the community and from staff and one coaches as well. From that, we will be developing a leadership profile for the next athletic director and similar process that we will follow. We know that Mr. Baker is not leaving us, thankfully, until actually the end of this calendar year. So we do have some time, but ideally we would like an individual to be appointed by the board in the fall and to shadow and actually begin working with us for the end of the fall winter season. So that's our update. And I want to thank the community and the board as well.
Thank you, Dr. Garcia. I do want to share with the board that there was ample feedback provided to us about the process as well. And the community stakeholder group shared with us how they felt the process was thorough, that the candidate pool that was brought to them was represented high quality candidates, and that the process was as I said again, very thorough and engaging. So I do want to thank Dr. Garcia for leading that process and the nationwide search that did yield 100. I thought it was 106, but Dr. Garcia is smarter than I am, so he did 104. We'll go with that number. Those candidates that have given us this pool to select from. So that is our update at this time. I will, as always, ask my children to go to bed, and I turn it back over to President Mills.
This brings us to board comments, new business this evening. I just wanted to mention a couple of things. I just wanted to take note of the Wizards event this past weekend. That was really wonderful community event. It's always good to see so much of our community come together and kids happy and families present and just laughing and enjoying the experience. So that was a pleasure. And just a note that the fashion show, the high school fashion show is moved now to Saturday. And we still have tickets available. And just for some background, the senior fashion show is a tradition here, and it's been going on for many years. This is about the 22, 23, 24. This is the fourth year it's been back since its COVID hiatus. And all proceeds are for the PTSA. And they help to fund the senior awards for the seniors, but as well as other PTSA programs. So it is also just a fun event to celebrate our students, and you know, it's nice to see them come out of their comfort zone a little bit because it's kind of uncomfortable for some of them. But today we had a rehearsal and it went really well, and it was nice to see, you know, the group come together. So that's this weekend. The doors open at 6:30, and tickets for all students are $10 and adults are $20. So I just wanted to give them a little bit of a plug here. I know how much work goes into it because I am involved in that. Because you know, anything that helps kids is important. I think it's very important. And this is one of those things where the kids are just like the Wizards. The kids are just so happy to participate in it. So
You buy tickets there.
yep, we're selling tickets at the door. I think that was my only board update. Anyone else have anything? Okay.
I do want to thank, point of privilege, if I could thank Linda Cohen-Stewart, who is filling in as our district clerk this evening, while Carmen Koch is out. So thank you, Linda, for performing this very detail-oriented, very demanding and difficult task. So thank you.
That brings us to our policy readings.
And at this time, I hear the rain coming down. Want to make sure our cabinet gets home safely and is able to spend time with their family. Thank you for your presence here tonight, the information and all the support you've provided us as we update the board and the community. So thank you, cabinet members.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're moving on. Tonight, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 second readings, and then just one first reading. Okay, so we're gonna have to get approved or get through these, or there's a bunch, so just bear with us. Tonight, we're gonna start with the second reading of revision of policy 4321.1, provision of special education services in the least restrictive environment. The Board of Education recommends.
Motion to waive the reading.
Second, all in favor? This one, we discussed this required policy and we just changed the language to the student and we did make, adjusted a typo. Do I have a motion to approve this?
Motion to approve policy number 4321.1.
Second.
All in favor? The next one is second reading, revision policy 4321.2, school-wide pre-referral approaches and interventions. The board. Second, all in favor? Anyone have any questions on this one? Will we approve it? Just making sure, this is the only change to this one is that we changed the old RTI language to the MTSS.
Motion to approve policy 4321.2.
Second.
All in favor?
Point of privilege.
Yep.
And just so the community knows, the multi-tiered system of supports acronym MTSS is not only focused on academic progress, it's also focused on the social emotional learning components of students in their academic and their school progress.
That takes us to second reading, policy 4321.6, availability of alternative format instructional materials for students with disabilities.
Motion to waive the reading.
Second.
All in favor? This is just that this one is something we already had adopted in 2013, required. We just changed very slight wording.
Motion to approve policy 4321.6.
Second.
All in favor? Next is second reading, policy 4321.9, declassification of students with disabilities. The Board of Education recognizes.
Motion to waive the reading.
Second.
All in favor? This is a new policy. The only thing about this, and this is one of those technical pieces, Mike, and I don't know if anything can be done, it's just where this breaks here.
Where it's
It's like an awful, it's like
The
a
title at the
awful
bottom.
break.
It's a heading 1 and then it breaks below.
Yeah,
Carmen and I can look in to see if we can just
Just
bring
for-
it down the full.
just so people don't miss that part, because sometimes you miss that if it's broken like that. I don't think that impacts our approval.
No, that'd be good.
Yeah, I was gonna say motion to approve policy 4321.9 with moving the title down.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, the next one is policy second reading, policy 4321.12, timeout and physical restraint of all students.
Motion to waive the reading.
Second.
All in favor?
This one, just as we go through the next couple, remember, this is the policy Next, we're gonna have the regulation, and then there are about 2 or 3 exhibits that are all the forms that go with emailing out to the parents what happened, like the letter they get and the form that's filled out. So just understand the next 4 are all connected to the same policy.
Is this a new policy or is this a,
We do not have it, but it is required.
okay,
I believe it wasn't a policy, but it was something that they were doing, so now we're just streamlining it so that it's the same language being used, the same form being used.
This
on
was,
everything.
this was the NISBA recommendation to have it in a policy form. Yeah,
Motion to approve policy 4321.12.
Second.
all in favor? The next one is second reading policy 4321.12R, timeout and physical restraint. All student, the regulations. This regulation contains administrative,
with the reading.
Second,
all in favor? This is the regulations to go along with the previous policy.
okay, motion to approve 4321.12R.
Second.
All in favor? Next, second reading policy 4321.12-E.1, timeout and physical restraint, all students exhibit.
Motion with the reading.
Second,
All in favor?
so this is the letter that we were saying would be used to contact parents about the timeout or physical restraint used. Motion to accept policy 4321.12-E.1, timeout and physical restraint exhibit.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, next is second reading, policy 4321. 12E-.2, timeout and physical restraint, all student exhibit.
Motion with the reading.
Second,
All in favor?
and this is the form,
this
this
is
is
the
just the
incident
incident report. Motion to approve policy 4321.12-E.2, timeout and physical restraint exhibit.
Second.
All in favor? The next one is the second reading of policy 4321.13, preschool special education.
Motion with the reading.
Second,
All in favor?
this is another new policy that we brought to the table last week. Just talking about if your child was in preschool process and the special education program for that. Motion to approve policy 4321.13.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, next reading is the second reading revision policy 4421, homebound instruction, and number change to policy 4327, homebound instruction.
Motion with the reading.
Second,
All in favor?
so again, as stated in the title, it was changing the amount of time in terms of, I believe, the number of days that had to be provided within the week with the number of hours.
Yes, and a number change in the policy itself.
Yes.
Which is why everything would be read.
Yes.
Motion to approve policy 4421.
Second.
All in favor? This is second reading revision policy 1240R, visitors to the school regulation. The Board of Education has authorized visiting days for those who wish to avail themselves of the privilege.
motion to waive the reading?
Thanks.
Second,
All in favor?
I just was seeing if you're paying attention.
this is again, something, this regulation was approved not that long ago, and we were making a revision to it so that we could be consistent with when we are asking for visitors to provide ID and sign and swipe in using the Raptor program that you guys use.
Yeah.
Trying to remember what my school uses versus yours.
Not just a good basketball player.
I'm not, I was not trying today.
Okay.
I'm just not gonna win against me.
It's
Public,
our,
save that for home.
our height with the decimals.
So this just was streamlining it because I know there was a lot of inconsistencies recently and we were aware of that. So this was just making it when we have the large events where we have a large number of or any event where we have a large number of faculty and staff and students during the day. Or at night, such as parent-teacher conferences.
It's that balance between ensuring the safety and security, but also having our buildings be warm, welcoming and inviting.
Motion to approve policy 2040-R.
Second.
1240-R.
Oh, 1240-R, thank you, yes. It's late, it's late.
All in favor? Sorry, it's okay, usually you're correcting me. Okay, this is second reading of policy 0000, philosophy, goals and objectives.
Second,
All in favor? All right, this is,
just wanna say, can you scroll back up to see the title again? That needs to be updated on, is that? The same?
educational philosophy dash mission statement.
Oh, okay, that's in the title, okay, yes. Just wanted to confirm that it was stated the same it is on here. Again, this was one of those that we were seeing just posting, like where it was posted was not always accurately the same. So we wanted to make sure that as a district, we were following the mission statement that we wanted and it was written in a policy. Motion to approve policy 0000.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. This is the first reading of policy 2245, ex officio student member of the board. The Board of Education believes.
Motion to waive the reading.
Second.
All in favor?
So this is something that was first, something that came of interest to us over the summer when we were at in Albany and we were presented with other school districts that were doing this.
Yeah. also
We were
part of
going
our
to bring it
strategic plan.
as part of our strategic plan and we were going to bring this as our board goal. And then coincidentally enough, it became a requirement from the governor at the same time. So it kind of went in line with what we wanted to do anyway. So here are just the ways that we wanted to go about selecting a board member, what their position entails, which would be that they are like an ex officio member, that they sit in, they listen to the discussion, can partake in discussion, but they do not vote on any board action. They would not be part of our executive session. Or would they not be part of if we called a special emergency meeting? And then it goes through the qualifications that we were looking for, so we decided we wanted it to be a 12th grader. And they would be selected for the year. And they would be selected the year before, so it would be this school year, for example, the 24-25 school year where the student body is selecting, when the principal selecting the student officer for the 25-26 year.
So this will be part of the student election, so the students at the high school will choose this person based on interest and a vote.
Correct. At the same time that the high school conducts its student government elections, this will be one of those ballot measures. To the 3 people who are watching now, if any of you are students, make sure if you're interested in running for that position, read the policy that is located on, should it be adopted, that will be located in our policy manual, so that you can see the expectations and the parameters of that position.
And I know we won't have to worry about anything under the additional provisions, which just states how a student would be removed or voluntarily on their behalf, where they would step down, or if they weren't following code of conduct or attendance, we would.
In essence, they're students first still.
Yes,
They're students first. The only thing that I'm wondering is why this wouldn't be considered a required policy.
well, I guess, did it go into law yet as of this date?
Do you believe that it's going into effect?
It's going into effect for next school year,
Do we have to bring this back?
possibly then to mark it as required, you're stating, but I don't think it's a requirement now.
Yeah, but it will be
It'll
for
be for
next
the
year,
next
so we have to
year.
make a note as policy, the policy committee needs to make a note that this would have to come back, maybe Mike, you can remember. that we probably should bring this back once it's required in part of law, that we bring it back to make it required. Just to reflect that.
Question. So I have a question. Do we need to go through the practice of that being a formal announcement, or do we just add required and not make it a reputation? It's a law.
We may have to check with we may have to just check, I would.
I think for full transparency and how we've been running it, I would bring it forward and that would just be the red mark change that we're marking it required. I know you like to read and do the discussions,
Yeah,
so.
it's really important.
Okay, I have a question.
Mhm.
Is the purpose for the student to, because I read the policy, it says impact board decisions. Is the student gonna be required to do training like new board members?
Yes, that's under the additional provisions, if you look at the last part there, that they're responsible, the superintendent will, or designate, is responsible for arranging for an orientation and training program.
Also, they don't do the board training like WISBA does for us.
I'm sure at some point they're going to create one for those. I'm
Okay.
sure, like, cause every district's gonna have to do this, so I bet at some point there will be some formal training coming from them, but again, this is not in practice yet, like, we're preparing for that.
But to your point, I'll ask.
Okay.
Well, additionally, I will, when we have our regional superintendent meetings, our monthly meetings, it's something that we can get off BOCES plate. To see if they can put a regional training together for us
Yeah,
too as
good
well.
idea. Great point, Stephanie. Okay, so this one we'll bring back to vote on the next time. That brings us to committee reports.
I just presented my committee.
Yes.
Yeah, me too. Safety.
And I gave my PTA update already for now. And you gave, you covered advocacy.
Just did all the presentations we saw.
Yes, and all the presentations we saw.
Yes, just so the board is reminded, the community who's listening in, the presentations you see during the budget season go before the cabinet to be reviewed, and then at a subsequent meeting, the finance committee, normally a week ahead of time, that provides the initial finance committee with insights, revisions are made, and then the final product you see brought before you today.
Thank you. So that is the conclusion of our,
Motion to close the meeting. The way they said it. Let me say.
yeah. Like
Second.
Yeah, you can make a motion to
Second.
close the meeting.
All in favor? That's your job.
All in favor?